pretty good, actually.
We're on? Hello.
Not lately.
Hello, my name is David Smith. I'm a member of the Resident Council. And to my left is Betsy Haight, the chairperson of the Employee
Appreciation
Appreciate.
Fund.
I always want to mix my
I know.
titles up. So this is the first of a series. We don't know how many are going to be in a series, but the first of a series of broadcasts from the council, from the Residents Council, involving various committee chairs for the different committees around the community. We're calling ourselves Council Connections, and our intent is to connect with the resident community, to connect with the committees, and to connect with issues that are going on around our community. Our schedule, it will be the first and third Thursdays at 2 o'clock, and that's the same day that the Resident Council meets. So if anything's current, we'll try to bring it to you on the same day. And speaking of which, in this morning's Resident Council meeting, Suzanne, our president, announced the results of the bylaw vote. There were 95 votes received, which exceeds the quorum, so it's all legal. 100% of those who responded voted for all the changes, so there would be no hassle about that. We did receive several votes also from the health center, which are included in that 95, so they weren't excluded from the, not everybody voted there or here, but they had the chance, everybody had a chance. The next meeting will feature the Physical Plant Committee, Mr. Rodman. And then on 10/15, we will have Alice from the Welcome Committee. So we're spreading ourselves around. And if any of you out there have an interest in us presenting a certain issue or sharing a certain committee you'd like to see highlighted, maybe you want to know more about them or you think they're doing something that we should all know about, please let me or Suzanne know. In addition, here's a commercial for the Sustainability Committee. They'll be using this time slot or a time slot on Thursday next week. They have a video to show all about the recycling streams that go on around here. And so we'll be alternating with them at least next week. I have more to say about the Resident Council, but I'll save that to the end. Right now, I'd like to start with Betsy. Betsy, could you share with us what your committee does?
Yeah. Hi, Dave. It's nice to be invited because it's a very, very important committee, of course. The Employee Appreciation Fund Committee was created as a standing committee by the Woodland Pond Residents Council in 2011. And the committee was established because of the stated policy of Woodland Pond, which prohibits tips or gratuities of any kind to members of the Woodland Pond staff. And the committee is totally resident run with the assistance of the Woodland Pond administration, limited to the collection of monthly gifts, which of course the business office has to oversee. And everything that we get from the monthly and from people's individual checks is deposited in the Ulster County Federal Credit Union, which is right here in our building. And because we are standing committee of the Residents Council, an annual report is given every year to the Residents Council. Now about a little bit of history. As you all know, Woodland Pond opened in about the last week of September in 2009. And so the month of October was very, very busy with a lot of people moving in because they'd been waiting to move in. And there were people discussing what to do about the people that give us so much wonderful service here. And they knew they couldn't tip or give a gratuity of any kind. So there was a lot of discussion. So finally, 5 resident members and 2 staff members, which was Gretchen and Sarah, drafted the first letter to the Independent Living, and they called it the Holiday Fund. And then a year later, in November of 2010, they have voted to include the health center because the health center, of course, didn't open at the same time that the Independent Living did. So that's why there was a delay there.
Were you part of the original group?
Not the original, but I've been there pretty much after that. I really should know the time I joined, but I can't remember. In June 2011, a letter was sent to give residents a choice of how they wanted to make their contribution. That was the first time they suggested that people could give it from their monthly fee into their bill, or they could make a appreciation gift by check. And we always say that you could give one check by the deadline, but we could take two anyway. um, just for information's sake, the hourly paid employees include housekeeping, drivers, maintenance, dining services, concierge, and the staff in the health center, the LPNs, the CNAs, and the hourly paid RNs. The size of our committee stays about 10 people, and there's no real selection of members. Some people have been on it for quite a few years, and we really like that because these are the people that kind of have experience and know things that worked and things that didn't work and so on and so forth. But we're always happy to have new people
That was
join.
my next question.
And yes, and it's all done by volunteering. And sometimes we ask people if they're talking about it and they're interested in it. But it's by volunteers.
Do they need a financial background or a money
No,
management
no.
background? No,
Just a people person.
just a people
Yeah.
person.
We have no set meeting dates. Like most of the committees meet once a month. We meet about 4 or 5 times a year. And because it's only for drafting letters, drafting publicity, and any other problem that might come up. Just for information's sake, this is how the fund works. There is a bank account, as I mentioned, at the Ulster Federal Credit Union. And at the beginning of November, the balance that's in the account is told to Human Resources. And Bridget has a system, a wonderful system. She can tell how much each hourly staff will receive according to the number of hours they have worked. And the bank issues the checks, and they're given along with the December paycheck. It's really like a holiday bonus. And last year, we gave $715, and it was distributed to 276 employees. The fund has increased each year, mainly because Woodland Pond has increased, or at least for a number of years it did. And the committee is constantly working on ways to increase the percentage of giving, percentage of the population of Woodland Pond. There has been some confusion over the last year or so because there is the Community Foundation Fund and there is the Employee Emergency Fund that was established right after pandemic for the employees. And sometimes they had gotten in publicity, got the name appreciation stuck into some of those. So, but it is, I think it's all cleared up now and they know we have 3 separate funds. Contributions are voluntary and confidential. As mentioned, residents can give monthly or buy 1 check or 2 checks any time of the year before the deadline, and this year's deadline is October 15th. In January, a letter is sent to all the residents and to the families of those in the health center. This letter explains the fund, and a form is attached for residents to choose their method of giving. The form has to be filled out each year, which a number of people always ask. I filled out a form last year, because circumstances change in people's finances and they may have to reduce and hopefully increase. And so that's how that happens. The committee does not know how much each staff member receives. Over the years, the committee has received thanks from many staff members.
Just happen to have a couple with you, huh?
Yes, I happen to have a couple with me. We get them in written form, and a lot of the staff people mention to the residents, either housekeeping people, maintenance, even in the dining services, we get them to mention. And here's a couple of the things that we have gotten. This person said, "I cried when I opened it. It helped with grad school application fees, student loans, car repairs, co-payments, and rent. But it also helped to relieve stress." The gift meant Santa could come and bring the best Christmas ever for an ecstatic 2-year-old. It also meant 2 new tires in time for snow season. The employee appreciation check came at the perfect time as I needed new tires and oil delivery for my heat. Thank you so much. It really made a difference. Having 4 children and 7 grandchildren, the extra money comes in very handy at Christmas. This year, I was hit by a deer twice in 1 month and had to fork out $800 in car insurance deductibles. So I had to cut back on the money for gifts, but the bonus really came at the right time. I lift my hand to God and to you all for this gift. It helped me to buy baseboard, pipe, and all the fixings to get heating. I have been using plug-in heater for 10 years.
Ooh.
This one just says, and there were quite a few that said this, helped me with a mortgage payment. And this one is used it for gas and oil for my home for the winter. And the last one I have here is, says, it allowed me to buy gifts without having to charge credit cards.
Are they all from 1 year, or are they kind of an
Yes, that's all from 1 year.
That's all from 1 year.
That's all from
Very
1 year,
nice.
and we have quite a few more. And as I say, staff members speak to residents
Mhm.
quite a few times.
The tone of that says to me that maybe they weren't expecting quite as much as they got, because it's an open secret, or not a secret at all, that this fund
Yeah,
exists and
right.
that they're going to participate.
That is one of the things they do tell when they personally talk to some of the residents.
Mhm.
They'll say, I was absolutely awestruck about how much I got, because
Yes.
everybody got something different. So,
Yeah, depending on their hours. Right.
right. Committee members are always happy to answer questions about the fund, and they can be identified by these little tags that
And some people in our audience are wearing those tags.
we wear them.
Three of them.
We wear them just a couple times a year during
When
the,
it's
and right
giving
now
time.
it's before the deadline at
Mhm.
October 15th. And the names of the committee members, which I can give if you wanted me
Sure.
to, is also listed in all the recent publicity that we've had, because we're, doing the last reminders. Harriet Fine, Joyce Gartrell, Jan Kissinger, Joan Klanigas, Ann and Lauren Hiller, Ray and Ann Smith, and Bob Sorosy, and myself.
And yourself.
And that's all I have to say. Do you have anything you want to ask me?
Well, I'd like to, we didn't have anything taken out of our, or added to our bill, so that's from
Wonderful.
my wife and I. Do I give it to you or take it to the bank?
Yeah,
Well, you'll take care of it.
I'll
right?
take care of
Okay,
it.
that's good. So management has not much of an active part in this. It's all the residents. They produce documents that show how many hours, but that's all goes to the bank and gets
Right.
sorted out.
Well, the residents really don't have anything to do with, it's resident run, but
Yeah.
we do depend on the administration
Okay.
for the business office.
I was
who does the
underselling my role
monthly, who takes care of the monthly.
Okay.
And they're the only ones that know who gives monthly.
That's fine.
Obviously, we wouldn't know. And, excuse me, they give a check every month to the person that's in charge of banking.
Mhm.
And that comes from there. And then, of course, human resources is a big part, because Bridget's the one who knows how to figure out who gets what.
And that you've got a smooth running engine there, right? Everything goes along.
Uh,
Never a
most-
problem. Just
Most of the time, but we do have to, we try to do a lot more publicity than we do, but it's
well,
hard.
you have this. This is new, but you did the Chanticleer,
Mhm.
and there's
And
postings
Joan just
around
did that, did
campus
a wonderful
and,
piece for that.
yeah.
Okay. And we are having something new that we tried in January, I believe, and we've done it. We're going to do it again for October, is send out a notice with the bills that come, the October bills.
Okay.
And this is another way that the staff, the administration has helped us,
Okay.
because they allowed that to happen. And Michelle is very much
Good.
in support of that. In fact, Michelle was the one who really sent out the little forms for people, the staff members, to write
Well, good for her.
their thoughts and thank yous. And so that was really her.
That's the first I knew that there were so many people. So
Oh, yeah,
appreciative.
that's only about a third of the ones
Well,
that we
that's-
got at that time.
but it shows what a breadth of
Yeah,
need there is.
right. Yeah, from all kinds of personal things to things that you would imagine.
Anything else you want to share?
I don't know. I don't think so. I
Okay.
think I pretty much
Well,
talked.
if you think of it, interrupt me because I'm going to shift back to
You-
the
yeah, right
President
ahead, go right
Council
ahead.
business for a second.
Yeah.
So when I was reaching out to the different committee chairs for whether they were interested in participating in this, a side issue came up, which is not related to this at all. And it was actually Joan who said you should be first because of the timing of it. But
Yay, you're right.
there's a section of the bylaws which says that the resident council can tell the council committees, certainly how long people could be on a committee or how many people could be on a committee or how long it's, but it's to my knowledge and to Suzanne's knowledge, there's not a written document that says that. So my plea this afternoon is for all you former council members or committee chairs that you too, Bob, if you have any written documents that you were given or passed on to you when you took over chairmanship or entered a committee, could you share them with Suzanne and me so we can, in the council, try to come up with some ideas? And our intent is not to pinch anybody off, not to say you can only have 5 members or you can have 7, but just to kind of get an idea of what people's needs are and draft a general document that fulfills the bylaw, which says that we should make some things. I know that some of the committees like to have a big membership because they need to touch various groups around here. And Joan, your committee has come up that you had people with special needs and you certainly want them represented and have a voice in what you're saying and all that. So we don't want to set, you can have this number or you can't have that number or how long they can be on, but we want to just see what the history is. In the meeting this morning, somebody said that this had been talked about several years ago, but that she herself couldn't remember or didn't know if there was any written information. So our plea is, if you have some or know where we can find some, tell us about it. And in closing, I have some coronavirus tips for people. These have been vetted by the Residents' Council. It essentially says to treat your mask like your underwear. Do not touch or adjust it, especially in public. Do not borrow or lend. Make sure it fits tight, but be comfortable. Make sure it is clean. Wear it right side out. If it is damp, change it. And don't go commando, which means don't go without. That's all I have for this afternoon. I hope several people out there enjoyed it, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Dave, I just want to say one thing when you're talking about giving Suzanne some information on how we determine people's coming. I mean, the size of the committee.
Mm-hmm.
When this started, it was very loosey-goosey, and I think Gretchen can probably attest to that. And it was kind of one of those things where, people just came in and out whenever they felt they wanted to say something. And so it didn't really get established. Vivian Moskowitz was very, very, and she's no longer with us. She was very, very instrumental in getting it going. And then Jay Bishop was a wonderful president and chairperson, rather. And of course, he's not with us, so here I am.
Good for you.
It's nice to
Anything
be
else?
here today.
Anything else? Thank you, Gretchen.
Oh, I'm going to turn this off before I get talking. There must be a button. I don't want to